Hi, everybody.
What's
Everybody wave hi. We're here.
Hi.
We finally figured it out.
Oh, yay,
How is
we did it.
how's everybody
Yay.
doing? We're here. Can we get some hype in chat, please? Because we were having some issues before this, guys.
Some.
We were trying real hard.
few.
Skype's annoying on Macs. Anybody that knows about Skype on Macs, talk to me after this, because man, that was fun. All right, so yay, we got some hype. Good, you guys can see us and you can hear us. That's always the best. So everybody, how's you guys doing?
Are you asking
We're all
us,
good?
Chat?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
Oh, chat. How you doing, chat?
We're all good?
Doing.
All right. Well, everybody in chat, thanks so much. Oh, so much hype. This is 3-minute break. And this is our debut, trying to get our Bambi legs going, trying to figure this kind of out. But we're basically wanting just to talk all about what it's like to be behind the stream of our significant others. We all have successful streamer husbands that we love and support, and we have endless questions from everybody. I know we all get the same round set of questions of how do you do this, and what do you do when this happens, and how do you deal with that? And we're all like, how about we just all tell you at the same time, because that makes it way easier than all of us answering everything individually. So that's what this stream is about. That's what this, if you wanted to call it a podcast, a live stream, whatever you want to call it, that's what this is about. It's just to be here and kind of talk about our side of things. So some of you might want to know how we got the name of it. I think, was it Amy? You came up with the name, didn't you? Yes.
Did.
Do you want to explain why we picked the name 3-Minute Break?
Yeah, I was just trying to think of like all of the things we were shooting around a bunch of different titles and stuff. And I think Ben actually came down for his 3-minute ad break when we were all talking about it. And I was like, what about 3-minute break hugs? Because I think he gave me a hug and I just typed it and then it turned into 3-minute break, because it's about as long as you get to see your husband while they're streaming, every few hours, 3 minutes. Check in.
Perfect.
Awesome. Well, that's why I picked it, because really all we get to do is during those 3 minutes, like, I don't know about you guys, but when my husband, I hear him come upstairs, I instantly drop whatever I do and I run out to the kitchen to talk to him, because I'm like, this is the only time I probably get to talk to him all day.
Yeah.
So
Here's
yeah,
my
that's
list of things.
right. Can you do
Talk
this
to
and
me,
this
talk
and
to me,
this
talk
and
to
this
me.
and this and this and this and this and this? So what we're going to do now is we're going to go around, and some of these faces you might know, some of them you might not, and I hope by the end of this you're going to end up loving all of us. So we're going to go through and talk a little bit about ourselves and who we're married to and our families a little bit. So I'll start. I'm Mrs. Dr. Lupo. Thanks for coming to hang out. My name is Sam. And I am married to Dr. Lupo, if you didn't realize that. That's who I'm married to.
Just
And
to
we
be sure.
have, yeah, just in case that wasn't obviously clear. And we have an adorable little 2-year-old boy named Charlie. And my husband Ben and I, we've been together for 10 years and married for 7 years out of that. And outside of being a mama, I'm also a photographer, and then I stream occasionally as well. So let's go with the other Sam. We'll start with you.
I am other Sam, wife Thalian. I'm married to Gathalion or Corey, whatever's easier. We have 2 older girls, 11 and 9, 3 fur babies. I'm sure you guys who follow me on Twitter see them all the time, Peach, Lincoln, Bowser. And we have a little guy, Bradley, who will be here early January.
Yay.
Outside of, taking care of the zoo at home, I am a fitness instructor, a trainer, and I have a nursing degree too, which I used to do full time. And that's what got me into what I do now. So a lot going on over here. It's always fun, never boring. That's it.
Let's go up
pass it on.
to next would be Amy.
Oh, I'm Amy, Pocahontas. I'm married to Professor Broman, Ben. And we just got married about a year and a half ago. And we had been together for 2 years before that. We have 2 dogs, Logan, who's 12, Pepper's 2. And I am kind of on my hiatus from school. I think my whole adult life has been, getting my degree and then getting my master's, and I'm still trying to figure out what to do with that. So I get to take care of Ben all day, and which is really fun because I get to do a lot of things, and he's super busy, so we definitely need somebody to like keep it all together.
Exactly.
girl.
Yeah. Sometimes I'm like, now what are you doing next? And Ben's like, I don't know. And I'm like, yeah, I don't know either. We need an assistant sometimes.
Right. Exactly.
All right, let's go over to Kelsey next.
I'm Kelsey, Mrs. Gernader. I'm married to Gernader Jake. We don't have any children. We just got married in August, but we've been together for almost 9 years. Started dating when we were 15, so we were little babies. And yeah, we have some fur babies. They're all like caged animals, but we are getting a dog in December. And still figuring out what I'm doing with my life, but I'm going to become a certified yoga instructor in February, which I'm really excited about. So yeah.
Awesome. And last but not least is Steph down in this corner over here.
I can't hear her.
Uh-oh. Are you muted?
Yeah, I think you're muted.
You're not.
Chat, this is the part where you have to lip read and figure it
Yeah.
out.
It's like, good
Just
thing I can
figure it
read
out.
lips a little bit.
Just to make sure you're paying attention.
I did see the oh no.
Still can't hear you.
Oh,
no.
no.
Shit.
Wait, was that her? No.
No, that was me.
She's like, no.
What?
Can you, if you can hear us, can we?
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
yay.
Yay! I figured it out.
Nobody
We
move.
did it.
Nobody move.
I got it. We're good. Ryan's like running down the stairs. I'm like, okay. I'm Steph, a girl on a hippo. I am married to the True Vanguard, and we've been together for I think 9 years, married for 7.5. My math is really bad. We have our firstborn is a fur baby. We have a black lab boxer mix, and who's sleeping at my feet right now, and he keeps farting. It's terrible.
Yes.
We have 2 kids. My son is 3, going on 4 in February, and then our daughter just turned 1 in August. And I work 4 days out of the week outside of the home, doing marketing for an IT consulting company. And then the rest of the time I am here living the stream life.
Awesome. Well, now you guys know who we all are. And we were talking, basically this whole thing was created actually by Lady Desiree. I'm hoping that she was able to make it in chat. She said she had some things to do, but she suggested it on Twitter. And we decided to just run with it. And we were talking about the different things that we can talk about to you guys. And we just kind of wanted to start off, I guess, with when our husbands were starting their streams and kind of how we became cool with that and supportive with it and deciding to move forward with it. So that's going to be like kind of our main discussion today is how our husbands started streams. How did we fit into it when they told us they wanted to make it a career, how we felt and all that kind of stuff. So when your husbands or significant others, if you guys weren't married at that time, came to you and they're like, hey, I want to play some video games online and have people watch me. What did you guys what was your first initial reaction when that was brought to your attention that that's what they wanted to do? Anybody can go.
Who's up? Who's up?
Well, who's been doing it the longest?
I think
I
that
think
would probably
5
be
years.
Amy, right? Or we're about, I think they
I
started around the
think
same
we're about
time.
the same. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
Go for it, girl.
Okay. Well, actually, when we met, he was already on Twitch, streaming full time when we started dating. So I kind of had to figure out what this whole streaming video games was and figuring out if he was like living in a dungeon in his parents' house and like streaming or if this was a real job. So when we were dating, he told me that he was a speed runner, and I looked at him and I was like, you don't look like you'd go that fast. But like running. So it was kind of, for me, it was a little bit different. Like I kind of had to dive into this world and figure out what this was all about. And I made a lot of great friends and saw that he was doing something really cool and having an impact on people's lives. And he worked so hard. Like when we started dating, he was literally working 10 to 12 hours a day. And then when we got a little bit more serious, he bumped that down to like, I was also busy working 2 jobs and getting my master's degree. So it really worked out at the time. So we would like meet for dinner and then like go to bed. Like that was both of our lives at the time. So it's been kind of an adjustment with me being out of school and still supporting like how much he has to stream. But I'm really proud of him. He's probably the most working hard person that I've ever met. But I will say that I never played video games, like even growing up, really. So this whole world was brand new to me, and it's been pretty amazing to see
No.
lives.
But now she's back.
Okay,
Oh.
I can for like 1 second.
So that's my story.
Who else were they your significant other streaming when you met them? Was anybody else, or was everyone else kind of thrown into it?
I think that's pretty unique.
Yeah.
In addition to Amy.
So he was already full time when
Yeah.
that was his job
Wow.
when you met him.
That's a whole different aspect to
Yeah.
things for
I
sure.
mean,
Yeah.
that's kind of like almost the opposite of a lot of the questions that we get is like, my significant other wants to start streaming.
Mhm.
How do you make this happen?
Yeah.
And so you're here and you're just like, well, this is already happening, so I need to get on board with it.
Yeah, it was kind of like, yeah, exactly. Do I want to be a part of this, or or
Yeah.
not?
Basically. So since he was already streaming and he already had like a chat and a following and stuff like that, did you hop into chat right away?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I tried to be all sneaky about it too, and like have my screen name be like something ridiculous, and try to like flirt with him to see how he would be
Oh my
with
God.
like someone
Ooh.
flirting with him or
Yes.
dating, and
I
then
love it.
I finally changed my name to like Amy something, and he was like, "Oh, look, it's you. That's you. We're dating." And like it was like I made him really awkward on stream, which was awesome.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Awesome.
But then at that point, once everyone knew who I was and like he was okay with chat knowing who I was, since we were more serious, because you have to be really careful with yourself and the people in your lives. But that's a different topic. But once I was there and like people were interacting with me and I was interacting with them, it kind of like opened my eyes to this whole world I didn't even know existed, and it was really fun. And it still is. I love it. I love it here when everything's nice.
Right. What about the rest of you? When your husbands came to you and was like, "Hey, I've heard about this thing. I want to do it," or did they already start? Like for me, Ben already he already had a Twitch channel that he was using to basically farm gold in Diablo. So he would set himself up in a certain spot of the game and he would tape a quarter to a key And so that way he could constantly be shooting, and all these bad guys would come to him, and then he would just farm gold. And he needed a way to be able to tell when he was at work if he got bumped off out of the place or anything like that. And so then he would call me and he'd be like, "Hey, can you reset me?" And so then I'd run
my God.
downstairs. Or it would be like he's playing a funny video game and he'd call his brother and he'd be like, "Hey, well, come on my stream and you can watch me." So he was already like, knew about this world and I guess he didn't really mention too much about starting to stream because he was helping Ninja with Noelle a few weeks after Trials came out, and he's like, "Yeah, you're really good, and I'll stream with you. I'll help you out. I want you, let's do this together, kind of thing." And then he's like, "By the way, I'm doing this." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, it's not going to be anything. It's just something fun to do on the weekends." And I'm like, "All right, cool." And then eventually kept going, and going. And I think it was maybe 4 months after he was really starting to actually put effort into it that I finally created an account. So before that, I would just go over to his computer and I would be like, "This is wife." And I would type whatever I wanted to say. And people would think that it was so cute that I would hop on and, and say hi real quick. And then I remember when I made my account, everyone was super excited because they could talk to me all the time and stuff like that. So he kind of had the idea of streaming in his head before coming to me and talking about it. So when he got to being more serious, then I was just like, "Oh, this isn't just isn't for fun anymore." Okay. So when he started out, he was still working full time at an insurance company in IT, and we're pretty cautious people. Like when I left my corporate job to become a photographer, I worked a part-time job for 3 years just to kind of make that transition. And so he was working his regular 40 hours a week at his day job, and then he was still working another almost 40 hours in the evenings and on the weekends. And I found out I was pregnant right after he started being serious with streaming.
Oh, man.
And so, yeah. And so I'm like, "All right, we can do this. But at the time, and even now, at the time for us, the daytime is when I take my sessions. Back then, that's when I worked my part-time job. And the evening is when I work. And he used to play World of Warcraft all the time in the evenings when we started dating. And so us just being next to each other but doing our own thing wasn't a new concept for us. So it really didn't even affect our lifestyle at all until it became something where he was able to make money out of it. Once it switched over to that, then it was just like, "All right, well now we need to figure out hours and all this kind of stuff." But at the beginning, it was just kind of this is fun. Let's see what happens with it. So
Yeah.
what about the rest of you when they first started? How did it start out?
I guess I can go. So I was a nurse, so I've gone through the craziness of nursing school and everything. And actually I was working full time. Corey was managing and serving at a restaurant, a local restaurant, and he was Mr. Mom. He did everything with these baby girls, and
So cute.
and I had to start off I don't know if anybody else is in healthcare, but when you start off, it's just you have to take crazy hours and all kinds of stuff. And there was a point where I think when he started getting more serious about it, he did it as a hobby. And started out just for fun and told me about it, but it wasn't a thing. He still worked. He still did everything with the kids. But when I started working overnights is when I think it became more serious. So I worked midnight to 8:30 a.m.
Wow.
Man.
And he actually streamed a lot of later nights because of, or he would have to work around the kids' school schedules. And he just made it work with his life and our life, how it was. It was a little maddening sometimes. He actually streamed out of our living room in our little townhome. And so he's like, it's almost like, hey, I'm really gonna go for this thing. I'm gonna hang a green screen and hang like 2 TV screens and all this crazy stuff in our living room. I had to explain to everybody who came in our house, first of all, like kind of what he was doing, where he was going, and that we did not do internet porn.
Oh God.
Like that's actually a more common conversation than you'd think for people who aren't familiar with it. But no, I mean before he started with this, I was not familiar with Twitch at all, and I did not know that realm or that world. So it was really interesting, and I'd join him a lot, just for fun and everything, and it just became I don't know, a part of our life, and that was before he ever grew his channel or anything like that, and it was just such this cool thing, and it just I think similar to you, Lupo. I'm just gonna say Sam Lupo, Sam L,
Whatever.
Sam squared. Like where it just kind of started becoming more and more and more of a thing. And while he grew that, I worked full time, overtime, everything we had to do. And eventually he took a step back from his other work and pursued it full time and just really went full force. And here we are. Here we are today from the living room green screen mess of a setup. It was many jump scares later, things like that. It's grown to just such yeah. That is when actually those who have asked like, whoa, there hasn't been a jump scare in a while. It's because of our house setup. Then it was his tiny townhome, and he streamed in the living room, and he could perfectly set up everything. So yeah, he definitely played around with a lot of ideas along the way. I don't know how, if you guys have similar experiences. He's done all kinds of stuff on Twitch and YouTube and everything. But
Yeah.
I do want to say, like, over time, more and more, he's opened my eyes to like this awesome community and people. I mean, gosh, like you guys, I wouldn't know any of you if it wasn't for this.
Right.
And
Right.
I'm so glad we
I
all
know,
met.
it's so amazing.
I
know.
know.
I think we like each other a
Group
little
hug.
I think so, yeah. We talk pretty much every day
Yeah.
Yeah.
about
So
the most
every
random
day.
stuff.
as crazy as it was in the beginning, and you kind of do, and I will say, and I don't know if any of you have had these moments too. In the beginning, sometimes I wasn't as understanding, and I was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe, like, and I would bitch and moan at him. Like, people have asked me that several
Yep.
times.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
no,
We're all shaking our heads, yes.
there were plenty of times where I didn't feel as supportive, but that grew, that feeling, and those, our routine, everything just kind of came together. It took years to find balance in that, though. But
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, that's pretty much in a nutshell.
Ta-da. Kelsey or Steph, what about one of you guys?
You
Well,
go ahead. Go
sorry.
ahead. Go ahead.
Okay. All right, I'll go. I mean, my story, I feel like, is pretty similar to everyone's in that it just started as like a small kind of hobby thing, and slowly over the course of like 10 months, I think it was like 6 months from when Jake decided to like commit himself to streaming to when he got partnered, and then from there it just took off. But for him, it was really good timing because he found out about Twitch and streaming and this whole world like right as he was finishing getting his bachelor's degree, and didn't really have any plans for what he was going to do after college. And a good friend of his who was very successful on Twitch was like, yo, like, I play video games for a living, like, you should check this out. And he was like, nah, like, that can't be real.
Like, that's weird.
Right? Like,
Sounds like a pyramid
oh.
scheme. What is this?
Yeah. And that's like how it is explaining to every stranger that I meet about what he does. I'm sure you guys can relate.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so he just decided to do it like once a week as a hobby, just like for fun. And then it just started growing and growing. And for that first year, we were actually doing long distance. So I wasn't like super a part of it. I was finishing my degree. he was living in another state. He was streaming in this like closet essentially in his dad's condo with like a curtain, and it was hilarious.
I think sometime we should just talk about their jankety setups at the
Oh
very
my God.
beginning. I bet you.
Yes.
How about this? Put a pin in it. Where next time we're talking about the jankety starting of their setups, because we all probably have the best stories. I have a butt print in my carpet where Ben was sitting. That's permanent there now, by the way.
Ben had his green screen up with forks.
All right, don't talk anymore. Next time.
That's
Next time.
Art was like MacGyver. Anyway, Kelsey.
So anyway, yeah, he was living in another state, and then we decided to move to Colorado together. And Jake was actually planning on getting his real estate license, so he started studying for that. He was doing like online courses and stuff, and his stream again was just like growing steadily. And it got to a point where he was like, should I keep putting time into this real estate thing when maybe I could just be putting more hours into streaming and that would be more beneficial? So he made the decision to do that. And I admittedly was not on board. I was like, oh God, this is really scary. Like, this doesn't seem secure. Obviously, I'm happy that he made that choice, but it was definitely a very frightening decision. And yeah, I mean,
Yeah, not
God.
an easy choice.
Yeah.
Well, not an easy thing to just be like, yep, we're doing it. Get on
Right,
board.
right.
It's scary.
Yeah, totally.
But I mean, that's the story of how it began.
Hey, go, Steph.
Okay, well, it's so interesting to hear what like the husband's jobs were before they started streaming, because everyone has such a different thing. And ignore my dog if you hear him barking. He's dreaming and he's like barking in his sleep. So I don't know what but anyway, so some people know this, that TV, aka Ryan, was a youth pastor before he started streaming. And we met in college, and I played video games all my life growing up. I had 2 brothers, no sisters. So it was like, you either do what they want to do or you get left out. So they kind of indoctrinated me into that. So I've always kind of been supportive of video games, and we still play with our buddies every week. That's mom's way to unwind after a long week. And I remember he started a YouTube channel just to like, I think he was making like 1 or 2 videos at the time a week. And it was around Destiny. Destiny had just started, so it was a lot of like teaching. And he's a natural teacher, so he was really good at that. And I still remember there were days where we're like, oh my gosh, your video got 300 views. Like, that's so amazing. And but at the same time, I was really frustrated because we had a newborn, and the YouTube alone was taking a lot of hours, and he wasn't making anything off of it yet. And so it's like, why are you doing this when you could be waiting tables or doing something to, and it's a slow burn, really. He was doing that probably, gosh, I'm really bad at math and remembering. He was doing that for quite a while before he got into Twitch. And so, and again, I didn't know anything about Twitch before he started. I was like, what is this? But he started growing that community, and some of that just kind of naturally flowed over from YouTube. And I remember one night him just saying to me, like, this could be the thing. Like, I could do this, and there's people out there who probably understand being a pastor and being a pastor's wife is not an easy life. And neither is this. In many ways, they're very similar. But it was kind of this decision of, okay, well, if you can get to a point where you can make as much as you're making now in your job, if you can replace your income with what you're doing, maybe we'll look at it then and take the leap. And we did, and it was terrifying. And my poor mother probably lost so much sleep. I think she thought we were going to be homeless, like.
My parents were like, he's doing what?
Yeah.
Like, well, great.
My poor mother, like, she's like, you guys, are you sure this is what you want to do? But I mean, but beyond that, actually, both sets of parents were really supportive. And, you know, we made the jump and never looked back. And I started getting involved in the community. I wanted to know what was going on. It's so funny because I've always considered myself better with computers. Now he's better than I am, but I never got into Twitter until he was on Twitter. And so I thought, okay, well, I'll join. And now I'm like on Twitter all the time. But yeah, again, just echoing what you guys said, the community that's just the fun of it, you know, especially like going to Guardian Con this past summer. Like that to me was awesome because I've always tried to be super supportive of his career, but to have people coming up to me and thanking me for letting him do what he does was like, oh, this is a bigger deal than I think it is. So
Right.
Isn't that crazy?
It's amazing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've had people come up to me and just be like, because of you guys. And I'm like, well, I'm not doing anything. Like, I'm not the one on camera. And they're like, yeah, but you're there supporting his dream. And I'm like, I am. Like, yeah. So yes, I am doing something other than bringing him Lunchables during the day. But yeah, it's so awesome to hear everybody say like that our husbands can touch their lives and save them and give them a community and a safe place to be. And I think that's so awesome. Mm-hmm. That's something, something as small as just playing a video game and saying hi to somebody when they come into chat is like just touches them. And it's cool to see their outreach. And I'm with all 5 of our husbands together. Can you imagine how many people have been supported and loved by this community and by what they do? It just kind of blows my mind at the spectrum of it. And they're only a small section of what Twitch is. And that just even blows my mind even more, that there's millions of people out there that we don't even know that are all getting the same kind of benefits. I think that's...
Yeah, I still remember when Ryan was trying to explain what Twitch was to his parents, and I guess they had like an off conversation where his dad was like, I don't get it, you pay people to watch video games, like, or to play video games, and his mom
you make video games?
Yeah. Mom,
I you make them?
Looked at him and said, well, you pay to watch people play golf, like, how's it, you know? And that kind of clicked for me even, but beyond that, they are providing a service, but at the same time you get to interact with these people instead of just watching an athlete on TV. You get to be a part of the community and interact with them, and in a way I think that's even better.
Yeah,
that's how I explain it to people. I was like, do you watch sports? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, all right, so this is what gamers watch instead of sports, but it's even better because you can ask your favorite athlete why they did what they just did when they're on the football field. You can't just run down there and be like, yo, why'd you mess that up? And then it clicks to everybody.
How they did a play wrong.
Or like, hey, why'd you throw it at that point? Why didn't you throw it earlier or later, kind of thing?
Why didn't you throw your sticky earlier? I don't.
And as soon as I explain it that way, then it clicks in people's brains.
Yeah.
As soon as you put it against sports, and I don't know, there was a cartoon, and I can't remember where the cartoon came from, but it was totally one guy was making fun of another guy. He's like, you're just sitting here watching people play video games? And the guy's like, yeah, and he's eating his popcorn. And then the next panel is the guy sitting down and watching people play sports. And just seeing that, like, just makes it all make sense.
Yeah. I've even compared it to like you go to a show and see a comedian for entertainment.
Oh, true.
Because there are some circumstances where like the game is the backdrop and they interact more. I know different games, different scenarios, but yeah, it's true. I mean, they're pretty funny. I mean, come on. But sports.
We're biased
though. Yeah. So it's just like anything else. It's just, I think it's just a new concept to so many people who don't know what it is.
Really quickly to not just pull up my Twitch app and like put them on.
That's
show people.
Right.
I do that before, and it's weird. I'm like, well, he's doing something right now. He's a floating head. check
It's
check
usually
it
just
out.
like a stream of like bad words or like
Or yeah.
Oh no. Yeah.
yelling
Well,
Or that's literally like I think one day I did that and I was at work and he was just joking around and he was like, shit cock motherfucker, da da da. And I was just like, really sorry about that.
Wrong channel. This is the wrong guy.
That's how I
Sam.
showed my parents what he was doing.
oh God.
And it was like it was way before like TOS, like all the things, and he was doing something like super goofy, and he was funny, and my dad laughed, but my mom was like, "Oh my." Well, I guess that's a thing now.
So the best part is my photography studio used to be in the living room and dining room of our house. So we bought our house specifically for it to be my studio for the time being until I had enough business to go and outward into another building. And so on the weekends when Ben's streaming, it was directly below my studio. And so in the basement, so every once in a while you would hear like a yeah, and so I'd have to explain to every single one of my clients what he's doing down there, and even now, like people like talk, especially new clients of mine, were sitting there for 4 hours taking pictures of their newborn babies. So like I need something to talk about, and so we talk about like our careers and things we like to do. And I'm like, well, my husband, he plays video games online for a living, and they're all like, what? And so I pull it up and I always show them, and of course like he swears or does something really stupid every
Right.
single time I open it up, and I'm like, that makes money for him. They're just like, okay, like what?
That's
whatever.
a moneymaker. Yeah.
Right? And it's just so funny when I would be taking a session and you would hear him scream below me, and I'm just like, oh my God, what is he doing? Like,
I just actually just recently we had, like the yearly pest control come over. And so he had to go through all the rooms and upstairs, and Corey's working. And right when he was in the hallway outside of his office, Corey was like joking with somebody else he was streaming with. He's like, calm the fuck down, sir. And the guy, he came downstairs and he's like, I don't know what your husband does, or like, because I kind of pre-warned him. I was like, he's working up there. He's kind of loud or whatever. And I was like, oh no, he's not talking to you.
oh my
Poor
gosh.
guy.
Our
That's
Orkin guy,
hilarious.
our
Like,
Orkin
I'm
guy
blacklisting
loves
this
what Ben
house.
does.
I'm not coming back.
Yeah, I felt so bad. And he was so funny and nice. Like the guy was super chill about it, but it was too funny. Like the timing and everything. Wow.
It was
Yeah, our
ridiculous. So
Orkin
we
guy
had
loves
this
talking
guy-
about it.
Oh, sorry.
Our Orkin guy comes once a month, and he loves talking to Ben about it for as long as he possibly can. He's an older guy, and he'll just sit there because his kids are into gaming and stuff like that, and he'll just sit there and try to talk to Ben forever, and he'll like ask him questions about his setup and about like random anime that his kids watch and stuff like that. Like he thinks it's the coolest thing ever.
That's
That's
really funny.
awesome. Oh,
All right, well, we ready to go into some
yeah.
questions?
We got some Twitter
sure.
questions from
All
you
right,
guys.
so just in case you guys don't have it, I threw it back in our Twitter conversation at the bottom.
Right.
But about a week ago, we asked you guys to throw us a group of questions, and we had a ton of awesome ones. And we kind of went through and just picked a few here and there, combined some together. And so I think we're going to start off with Kelsey, and she's going to read it out and then give her answer, and we'll kind of talk about it a little bit, and then we'll kind of go around. So
Cool. Okay, so excuse me for reading off my phone. What's the worst or hardest thing about being married to a streamer, but also what's the best part? And this question's hard. I was thinking about it today, right after
especially
I
because
chose
Jake's in
it.
chat right now.
I know. I mean, I could argue that a lot of the hard things are also great at the same time. I mean, it's hard to have long hours and constantly, even after he's ending his stream, he's working and doing stuff all night. But that's, God damn it, just seeing him in chat. But that's
Jake, go
also
away.
He's
amazing.
watching.
I don't know. I guess that's what I would choose as the hardest thing, is just that it's not just the hours that they're on stream. It's like all day, every day. No breaks really. But the best thing is that we're part of this amazing community. I know we've talked about it a bit, but I would never have even heard of Twitch if I wasn't married to Jake. Wouldn't have met any of you beautiful women or any of the like hundreds of people that I've gotten to meet. That's just like so unique and special. And yeah, I would never want anything else. So.
Aww.
Group hug.
I agree,
Wait,
though.
that doesn't
Yeah.
work.
I agree, though, that like it doesn't stop when they hit stop streaming. It goes on for the rest of the day. And I mean, we've had moments where I'm just like, can you just put your phone down, please? And then
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
if
Out of
it's
his hand.
yeah, and I'm like, if it's not something that is like,
Oh.
if Twitter's not blowing up, when is it not blowing up anymore? If Twitter's not blowing up and I just need you with us for right now. And so we've talked about like when it's okay and if it's during a time like during family time, but Ben is talking to somebody about stream that evening, or if he is talking to somebody about doing a promotion or something like that, or Twitter's blowing up and he needs to stay relevant, because I think that's the hardest part, is that they have to stay relevant. So if there's some big discussion about some video game sucking, we're not going to talk about it right now, but if some video game is sucking and he's not part of the conversation, well, then he has that potential chance of losing viewers to somebody else. And I think while these guys are all buddies, it's still every man for themselves when it comes to stuff like that. So if they
So tricky.
yeah, it's so
Yeah.
hard to find a balance. So anytime that we have our no phone time, Ben has to just be like, I need to look at my phone for this. I'm like, okay, let's just do it, get it over with, and let's go back. And so yeah, I agree. I think that's the hardest part for me, at least.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah, I would add on to that and say that the lack of time off, like actual like vacation and things like that, because they have to stay so relevant. I feel like they all have it in the back of their minds. Like, say, I don't think we've taken more than like 4 days off in a row, and that was like, that felt like forever.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I feel like the job is just so much different sometimes than, say, you get your week of vacation or whatever. I don't feel like we've done that since he started, and that's probably the hardest part. But yeah, the best part is still the community, just like Kelsey said. It's pretty amazing. So it makes up for all of those sacrifices and those things that we sometimes miss out on. But I feel like, I don't know about you guys, but we found a pretty good balance. It just depends what's going on.
Yeah.
It does. I feel like it comes in waves. You know what I mean? And there's definitely a point where, as the significant other or wife, you have to just decide, like, okay, so they've explained it to me. I've been through this before. Like, this month or this week or these 3 days are going to be awful, and he needs me. And then when there's, when you're on a down, then he can take a few days off, or he can stream for shorter, and you get to have a date night and you soak up that time with them. But I feel like it's really our job to support them however we can, especially with how awful things can get on the internet. Even though there's so much good, you just have to like commit to supporting them and seeing when things are super busy versus like, you just have to make sacrifices, but enjoy the time that you can and really go out when you can go out.
Yeah, for sure.
We've even talked about, because we kind of counted Guardian Con as our vacation this year, even though it was more of a working vacation. Still a lot of fun. Glad we did it, right? But we've talked about like future vacations and what we're gonna do, and literally it revolves around, okay, so if you brought your computer, hotel Wi-Fi would not be great.
Yeah.
When my daughter was born, I still remember we have to spend a couple days in the hospital, and the day after the second day, she was born in the morning, and so on the second day I told him, like, go home, there's nothing you can do for us here. Go home and stream. And, you got to work. You have to work. And like, I had family staying with me, so it wasn't a big deal. And he still got so many negative comments. Like, why aren't you with your wife? She just had a baby. And it's like, no, I sent him there. Like, I told him. And I had,
she made me do it.
and I know I told you ladies, I had gallbladder surgery last year, and the same thing happened. Like, I got home from surgery, and when I was able enough to like take care of myself, he's like, I still have to stream. And I'm like, just do it. And he still got comments like, you should be helping. It's like, no, this is his job. This is a job. He's not just playing for fun, so that is hard to get people to really realize that it is a job. And they work hard. I think that's, to me, like the frustrating part for me is when I see people who treat it like, oh, they just sit and play video games. And it's like, he's one of the hardest working people I know. And they don't think of that, because they think they're just having fun. Yeah, he has fun at his job, but it's still work, and he still works very hard, so. But
probably harder than people are working at any other job.
Well, yeah,
exactly.
And a lot of those, you get paid time off, you get sick days.
Right.
Like, as a streamer, you don't get a
vacation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
I feel like they work like 2 full-time jobs.
I know.
Like hours wise too.
Yeah.
And all kinds of hours.
Yeah.
So are we good there? I can go ahead and read the next question, since baby boy is pulling an all-nighter. As chat said.
Oh no.
Oh, Charlie, no. Okay, so this is kind of like a couple of questions. How do you help your significant other overcome things such as insults to them and family, even death threats? I know they can block them, but it still must get to them. Have any of you ladies faced hate because of the community surrounding your spouses? I know the internet isn't too great a place. If so, how do you handle it? So even though the first thing I want to say is that the majority of you are awesome and nice, and the community is great, and they will stand behind you. They will mama bear for you. We've talked about this recently. Yeah. But the internet, there's still going to be a lot of hate and things like that. And I'm sure it's been an issue recently. I've seen personally, you can post about your baby being born and people will be like, why does this game suck? Go die. And you're like, well,
what?
I saw that tweet.
Or I post a picture, and in all seriousness, I post a picture like pregnant, I'm going to go exercise. And it's like, oh, your husband, this or that. And I'm not going to go into detail, but there's some really nasty things said sometimes, or threats to your family. Now, anytime it's been serious to that level, and things have been investigated, it's been a child. So, but that still worries me. It still worries me that they're, there are real people behind these streams, and there's real families there. See, like right now. Hello, guys.
Oh, poor Charlie.
So
I hear you, boy. Go to sleep.
Where's that video? Where's Morgan Freeman when you need him? Go to
Yeah.
That's my favorite. So where was I? So it seems like any actual threats obviously have never been, real, but we've even had people say, I send pizza to your house every day. I know your address and things like that. It can be pretty scary. Mm-hmm. And I feel like now, just to kind of shift back to like how he handles it, I feel like he doesn't tell me half of what he sees, like not even the half of it. And some days I can tell that it gets to him more than others. I mean, just how many times can you be told over and over and over again negative things? But for the most part, I feel like, they do a good job at handling those comments and trying to move on the best they can. But I mean, we're all human beings. It affects you.
Yeah.
I've had things said that it affected me, and it just, It's really tough. It's tough, but we'll just try to be there for him. If he wants to talk about it, we try to talk about it. If we need to just move on from it, then we do. It just kind of situation to situation on that one. Anybody else?
Exactly.
I mean, I feel like you covered everything that I would have said, but yeah, it comes down to choosing your battles and learning to let things slide off, and knowing, as you started out by saying, that for every one person that's being an asshole, there's like 1,000 other people that love you and support you and have your back,
100%.
which is
Oh,
super
100%.
awesome.
Yeah.
And it might hurt for like a little bit, but it's
Right.
never, like at this point you get so used to it, and you also know that it's not real, really,
Yeah.
So you just you learn to move on, and it could bother you for a little bit, but it always goes away, and there's always more love around the corner.
So
I think
true.
the hardest ones for TV, at least, would be like, and I've seen things be said about me, and I don't really care. Like, we've discussed this. I don't really care if something is said about me. And most of the time, if I'm there and I see it, I'll say something like, I've been called worse by better people,
Yeah.
Like, it just doesn't affect me. But when they bring the kids into it is when, when it really affects Ryan, and it really sometimes affects me. And a lot of, like you said, Sam, a lot of times he doesn't even really tell me anymore. I mean, but I know lately with how salty some portions of the community are around certain games, like he had to turn off YouTube comments for a while. He's like, he's like, every time I go in there, I'm getting beat up. And he said, I know these opinions shouldn't matter, but when you hear it over and over and over again, and it's just
hard to ignore.
It's hard. I mean, everybody has feelings.
Right.
And it's easy. It's so easy to hide behind a keyboard. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because would these people say that to your face? No, I highly doubt they would.
And you kind of have to take it that way. But then there are some battles, like whenever I feel, and I think Corey feels the same way, whenever we feel that it could help someone else out there by calling someone out and addressing the issue, we really try to. I mean, we try to in a decent way, but sometimes it needs to be brought forward. Other times you really have to let it go. But that is one reason why we don't post a lot of pictures with our kids and things like that. Just because over time, those really kind of wore thin on us personally.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Sam, you're back.
I'm back. Yay.
Is he sleeping?
Oh my gosh. He was almost asleep, and then he just shot up and stood up and started throwing things and crying. And so I had to go back in there, and we basically redid the whole entire bedroom routine. And I relayed him down. And if you saw me run by, he wanted a dump truck, and I was like, I'll get you whatever you want, just go to sleep. And rubbed his back, and I was like, if you go nights, we'll play tomorrow. And he's like, and watch Lightning McQueen. And I was like, yeah, we'll watch Lightning McQueen tomorrow. All you want, buddy, just go to sleep.
You know what we call that at my house? We call that negotiating with a terrorist.
Right?
And we do it a lot.
It's so true.
We do it a lot. That time.
I know. I wonder if Ben's still in here, he's gonna be so mad at me. But guys, he has like 6 toys in his bed right now.
Sometimes.
Totally get it. Well, it's Ben's fault, though, right? I mean, let's just put that out there.
Right, of course, because he's not here, so of course it could be.
Gotta lay the
Blame it on Ben. Hashtag blame Ben. Let's get it going, you guys.
Oh, dear.
This is real life, because this is what we deal with every day. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, hey, here's a perfect example of real life being online.
Yeah, exactly.
So where were we? I was kind of hearing, but then I had to sing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, and you guys were throwing me off, so I had to take my headphones off.
We were doing the negative comments one.
Yeah, we're just wrapping up on that one. So if you have any thoughts or like any more input on that.
I'm sure you guys got it all, other than people just don't know how to have a stupid social filter.
Yeah.
And or like
nice,
have an opinion, but be nice. It's totally fine to like disagree, but let's be nice. Isn't that what I'm reading your rules right now, Sam? Be nice.
Yeah.
Yes, like
Well,
seriously, just be nice.
Channels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think,
All right.
Steph, you have the next
Oh, yes.
Yes.
question.
Dropping the ball here. Hold on. I should remember mine because I picked it. Oh, okay. Mine's super hard. I want to hear about all of your hobbies. Was the question.
Yay.
Do you want to go first, Steph?
Go for it.
Sure. What hobbies? Just kidding. No, I take care of children. No, about a year ago, I've always been into graphic design, kind of self-taught. I figured out I loved it my senior year of college, and by that time I was like, do I get a degree in that? And realized that would be another 4 years, and I was like, nope. I'm already way too in debt with student loans, so that's a hard pass. So I just kind of self-taught, and that kind of gradually went into last year. It's kind of a weird thing. I joined this Facebook group for identifying fonts because I'm a font junkie and was really into the pretty scripts and stuff. And people started posting these pictures and they're like, what font is this? What font is this? And a lot of people just kept going into like, oh, that's hand lettering. And I was like, what is hand? Like, it sounds stupid to be like, what is hand lettering? I don't really know. And so I was like, I could do that, right? I mean, I can do that. And so I started that back in September last year on my maternity leave. I needed something to do, and I have a really freakish obsession with it now. So that's probably my biggest hobby that I do. I love it.
It's so beautiful.
And you're so good at it.
Oh, thanks.
So good at it.
Thanks. You guys don't see 90% of it that I'm like, this is trash. But
No.
I've come a long way in a year, and I'm really proud of that. I really enjoy it. So yeah, I'm excited, and there's so many classes I want to take. It's hard. The community is really big, but it's kind of a weird, like there's not a whole lot of classes around because I feel like I have basic grasp on certain things and certain things I don't. And I can't really find classes that really center around those. And then there's one I want to take that's like $300. And I'm like, can I justify it on something that I really don't make money on? And do I even have time? So, but yeah, it's so nice because that for me is like my stress relief. And there's so many days I just come home, and even if the kids are like frustrating me, it's like, man, I just want to get down to, whether it's a pen and paper or it's my Apple Pencil and my iPad and just even screw around or whatever. Happy accidents. Yes. Total Bob Ross right there. But yeah, that's my main hobby, I guess.
That's so cool.
Cool. Let's go around in a circle then, since this one's not really much of a discussion one. So Sam, go ahead.
All right. My biggest hobby turned job is fitness. I got into it as a nurse. I started to be more and more interested in preventative care and things that we can do for ourselves before health gets bad. Right. And it just at first was such a nice outlet for me and my stress relief. And it just became a passion. And I absolutely love what I do. I call it like my good for my soul job. So yeah, that's my biggest thing really. And I'm actually continuing my education more for that, for bachelor's and then hopefully master's, everything, to get more into that film. Jeez. My brain.
Pregnancy brain.
That
right.
Field. What are words? And I just want to get and hopefully my passion, can help people. I found like, it's definitely not all physical. I've experienced many touching moments, with people who really needed what I had to offer. So I really, really love what I do. It's not all about like, hey, look at me. I got to this point with my body and things like that. It's totally not that for me. So yeah, it's been a really cool journey. I never would have thought I would have shifted over so much to that.
That's awesome.
Cool. Amy, you're next.
Oh, I'm next. Well, this is kind of the first time in my life that I've had time for hobbies. So I've kind of been that crazy girl that's like, oh, I'm doing this now. And then like 2 weeks later, I'm like, oh no, this is my thing. And then like a month later, I'm like, oh no, This is my thing.
That sounds like
Yep.
me.
Yeah.
And it's amazing, and I love this journey. I'm trying so many different things, which is great. But I would say I finally get to cook. Like, now that I'm not going to school and having so many jobs, like, I have so many cookbooks. Sam can tell you, like,
Yes.
like ridiculous amount of cookbooks. So I finally get to cook again, which is amazing. And actually, this week, I'm really into propagating succulents. So I have all these succulents.
I love succulents.
And
Same here.
I'm gonna make so many more succulents, you guys. So,
I want to
I'm
see
actually really
pictures.
excited about that.
Yeah.
I am. I'm gonna put it on Instagram,
Yes.
and hopefully the leaves will turn into little babies, and little babies turn into plants.
Oh, they're so pretty.
They're so
And I'm
cool.
really excited.
I can't
So
keep a
that's kind of my
plant
thing.
alive to like save my
Me
own life.
neither.
So
Even a succulent.
Okay,
I know
We-
that's why I'm like I just have fake ones.
Help me.
so the secret to plants, for me at least, is and my grandma taught me this: just get a water meter. It's like literally $6 at Lowe's or something, and it just says like dry, moist, wet, and you stick it in the plant, and it tells
Okay.
you.
That's
Hold up.
Listen,
There's also a
Amy needs
little-
to be on HGTV
Yeah, right.
and
Oh,
just
right.
stop it already.
I've
Make
also
your
seen,
own
like-
Twitch channel of just cooking and
Just
plants.
planting.
no,
Plants.
HGTV with Amy.
I like it.
The queen
or
of
whatever. Yeah.
hobbies. This week, next week.
I love
Nice.
it.
We
Oh,
can't
that'd be
have
great.
plants because my cat eats them and then she throws up. Literally, the cat that's
Oh,
on my lap.
no.
So I can't even get flowers. It's been like, I don't even know. Ben's maybe got me flowers twice in our 10 years together because our cat eats them. And so
Oh man.
I can't even,
That's
can't
just
even
what-
have that. She's so nice and sweet, but I have the most realistic looking IKEA plants that I could possibly find all over my house.
And that's important.
Yes.
Probably still tries to eat those. My cat.
She
eats-
does, yes. I can't do. I have one up above me that has. It looks like grass, but some of the tips are broken off because she tried to eat it and then she threw up plastic. So,
Oh my gosh.
Nice.
all right, Kelsey, go ahead.
I'm up. Well, I already mentioned that I'm really into yoga, and I'll be doing it's like a 10-week program, and then I'll be certified to teach after that, which I'm super excited about. And I've also always been obsessed with animals. I've done tons of different stuff. Right now, I'm not currently doing anything, but I worked in a wildlife rehabilitation center, and I've trained service dogs for several years. I've worked with the guide dogs for the blind, worked in a shelter, all the animal things.
Awesome.
And we're moving up near Portland, Oregon next week. So I'm hoping to find some cool organizations to start working with up there.
Oh, I'm
And
sure we will.
Didn't we
Yeah.
all decide that like if this Twitch thing doesn't work out for the husbands, we're all just gonna buy a
Yeah.
ranch where
Yeah.
dogs
Right.
can come
Yes.
live
Yeah.
with us, like 100
Yes.
dogs?
Yes.
like all the
This
animals.
is a good plan.
All of them.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
love it.
that's
All
my
the
dream.
pups.
Yes.
That would be perfect.
And just one last thing, I love any kind of DIY / crafty project.
Oh yeah.
Hell
yeah.
yes.
We're all like, yep.
Not me. I think I'm the only
No?
one that's like, no. I start something like that, and I'm like, fuck this shit.
So in other words, we won't be having a crafting night at your house at Guardian.
or, or I'll be like, Amy,
Can you do it for me?
Help.
Amy, help.
it?
Which I love. Please.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Is that me? It's me then.
Yes.
Okay. So, as you guys know, I'm a photographer. So photography has been like my hobby turned into my job. So I guess I really don't view it as a hobby anymore. Like I hate bringing my camera anywhere if I have to take a picture of something like or somebody. So I usually just leave my camera at home and I'm like, ah, darn, I left it back home and I can't take your picture now. Yeah. Oh, shucks. But I love doing crafty stuff and projects, and I've been teaching myself hand lettering as well. I do a lot of painting, and that's pretty, like anything artsy, anything organizational, interior design, graphic design, like any of that kind of stuff. Like I feel like as far as it comes in the art department, I am a Jane of all trades. And so I used to love to rock climb a lot, and I really want to get back into it a ton.
Ooh.
But
Cool.
yeah,
So
that's me.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So is hand lettering like calligraphy, but like more freestyle and like more hip, more
Right.
hip these days?
I would say.
Yeah.
These days. Is that what the
These
kids are
young
doing?
kiddos.
Back in my day, calligraphy
Calligraphy was calligraphy. As I rock on my rocking
Wait.
chair.
It's just, I mean, it's also called modern calligraphy.
Okay.
So, yeah, because I mean, I remember calligraphy
What's
being a
that
thing
about?
for friends in high school, and I was like, that looks ridiculous.
Like
there's
this. Can you see on my stream, Amy? In whatever, in 15 seconds or whatever.
Yeah, I'm looking too. Waiting. Oh, okay.
So like that.
So it's another word for it would be brush lettering.
Yeah.
So basically, I need to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is this week's project.
Yeah,
More-
that's a hobby.
The
After
more
the
people who
succulent.
can join my cult, the better.
Oh my
I
gosh.
I got a new brush lettering pen, and so I made a rainbow that's a dragon that's made out of a rainbow. I was doing that on
Ooh.
stream.
What did you get?
I got what's the
Ooh.
brand of it? The Pentel water brush, where you fill.
water brushes.
Oh, they're so much fun. Actually, I will have to talk to you after this stuff because one of our community members, her wife, makes and curates a hand lettering box every single month with
Oh,
like
man.
new supplies.
Oh, so
Oh yeah,
cute.
it's so good.
That's really
So
and I've had people
do
push
that.
for me to do more
It's okay.
streams
okay.
with my hand lettering. I've had people are kind enough to act like they would want to watch me do that, but I'm like, I will just screw up because that's
no, your last one was so good, or your first one that you did, it was
No,
so
but
good.
and every time I think like I get halfway through a project and I'm like, man, I should be streaming this. And then I'm like, you idiot, you're already halfway done and nobody's going to want to watch you now.
Right.
I do that with
So-
cooking all the time, and like I only remember maybe 20% of the time to put it on Instagram, even because people like really want to see what we're doing all the time.
Yeah.
But it's so
Mhm.
hard to remember. Like you just go about your day and like, oh, this is what I'm doing. This is some me time, and you just forget.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Agreed. Well, cool. What's our next one, Amy? I think
Oh,
you have our
that's
next
me.
question.
Oh, it is. Okay.
Okay, so next question from Twitter was, how much do you all worry about your broadcaster's health, which is a demanding and low activity job, so it has to be hard to balance health. Yes, it is definitely
oh my
hard.
God.
What? What did I do?
Nothing. I'm just laughing at the question. Go ahead.
Oh, yeah.
Not you.
It's pretty hilarious because
Over
they
here.
have absolutely no time to take care of themselves. That's also why I don't want to get a job. I want to be at the house. I want to be here for him. I love to cook. I'm learning a lot of different things about, natural cooking and what he needs to sustain himself and be the happiest Ben that he can be on stream. And I want to be there because that's one of my passions is cooking. But it's really hard because, you want them to go to every doctor's appointment, but every doctor is open when they're streaming, like it's during bad hours. So it is kind of hard unless they're like, if they can't work, they'll go to the doctor. But if not, it's
Right.
like routine things like don't happen unless like you make
Oh,
them. Would
Yeah.
you guys agree with that?
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, we had
Yeah.
had a bronchitis and a sinus infection
Ah.
last week, or 2 weeks ago, and we're still getting over it. And I was like, I'm taking Charlie and we're gonna go to the convenient clinic and we're just gonna get this taken care of. And he's like, okay, well, I'll let you know if I'm coming. I'm like, okay. And then I'm getting ready for that day, and he's like, yeah, I'll just go. Let's go. And I was like, thank you, because this is like something that we're not going to just randomly get over with. Like he had his voice gone for multiple days and had 2 days where he was forced to take off because he could not speak. And I was like, we need medicine.
Yeah, real medicine.
It's so funny because like he loves science so much, but then as soon as he's sick, he's like, I don't want medicine.
I'm fine.
Oh my gosh, did you guys see in chat? TV says, I drink enough beer to keep me healthy.
Oh my god. Oh, yeah.
I'm
You know,
sure
I'm really amazed by him because, like, for the most part, he's ridiculously healthy. Like, everyone else can get sick, and sometimes he gets a cough. Like, I think there's actually a command in his chat for cough. But we all, over Thanksgiving break, we all like consecutively came down with the stomach flu, like some form of it. And I think myself and my daughter were the worst. And for him, it was like Friday, he felt kind of crappy and he had the chills and stuff. And then he went and took a nap at dinner and he woke up and he was like, I'm fine. And meanwhile, like Saturday night, I'm like, should we take me to the hospital? I don't know. Like, I feel like I'm dying. And I just don't get it. I'm like, how do you, I don't know. So maybe beer is a secret.
Just to spite you. Just to spite you.
Jake's actually the same way. I feel like he never gets sick. I can't even remember the last time he even just like had a cold. It's been
Crazy.
a really long time.
Man, lucky.
I don't know. As soon as Charlie started going to daycare, we got sick all the time. So.
Oh man, that
Oh, yeah, you're at that
daycare.
stage.
Yeah.
I was gonna say the other thing that gets them sick usually is the conventions, like all of the pass box or
Right.
like, you know, whatever, with all the strangers. It's like they're in their little room so much that like they're fine.
Yeah.
Right. That's probably
Right,
why he never gets sick, because he's never goes out.
Because he never leaves the house. So as long as you don't bring the germs in, then you guys are totally fine.
I know, and I was so terrified because I got sick last week, and I was like, "I'm so sorry, I'm gonna get you sick." And he never did, and I was like, "Well, that's not really fair."
Well, now I'm just
though.
mad. Now I'm
Yeah.
Right. It's not really fair that you don't get this.
I think for me, my biggest worry for him is like just not getting enough sleep because he does a lot of late nights. And even like, because even every week, it seems like we're always kind of adjusting his schedule, what's working, what's not. And there's some nights where it's like, it's supposed to be just a night that he's editing for YouTube. And he's like, I decided to stream it. And it's like, dude, you need to get some sleep because I know you'll stay on longer if you're on Twitch. And
Right.
so I don't know how he functions with so little sleep because for me, if I get like 2 minutes less than my 8 hours, I'm just cranky for the rest of the day.
I'm a monster.
Amen.
You.
Amen.
I really worry about like the preventative care and stuff like that. Not just when they're sick, but like I think in that question when I saw it on Twitter, it said like, you know, they have high demand jobs, they sit a lot, things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why they need those 3-minute breaks.
Yeah.
So I
gotta
worry
get
about
up.
that. So I've gotten Corey to, you know, exercise sporadically. And he goes to the doctor. I literally schedule appointments when I think it's like because he usually does a split stream usually. And I'm like, you're going to the doctor at 3:00 on Thursday.
And
so
that's it.
yeah, he's been to a couple appointments, but it's funny because this has happened more than once. He's literally streaming. I remind him in the morning, you know, what his schedule is. And I've texted him like 5 minutes before his appointment. I'm like, okay, you're at the dentist, right? And I could go on Twitch, and he's still on there.
No.
Shit. Like so they get caught up. I think they lose track of time for real.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Time. So yeah, I kind of worry about that because he does, and then he'll say, "Oh, I'll do it, and it'll be you know, a decade from now."
I think my biggest thing is hydration.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
It's
those of
like,
you that have been
please
in
drink
Ben's,
water.
for those of you guys that have had kids, you know the big jugs, like the big jug with the hospital logo that they give you
Yeah.
when you have a kid. Okay, so Ben stole mine, and he has that downstairs.
Well,
So
that's
he drinks
smart.
out of a Methodist Women's Hospital
love
mug all the time.
love it.
But yeah, everyone in chat,
Dang,
the
I
water
should've
bottle.
kept
Yes.
mine.
Oh man, well I'm so mad he stole mine, and he's like, well, you can just go get another one or order another one. I'm
Just
like,
have
I
the
worked
shady.
hard for that thing, damn it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. you work
Fine.
hard for it.
They wheel you into the hospital room. They're like, "Can we get you anything?" I'm just here for the water bottle. Like that's
Yeah, like
if I had a second kid. Just give
I
me
could
water.
go to the gift shop and buy one if I
You'll probably
really
find some on eBay. I mean, let's be
exactly.
honest.
But yeah,
Ben just
so
found one just like that, like a hospital water bottle, and it literally
Yes.
has like the time on it. It
Yes,
has
I have
like
one of those.
every
Oh, wow.
hour of the day, like so that you have to drink it by noon, you have to drink it by 2, you have to drink it and like fill it back up. And he did that all by himself. It only took him one emergency
It's the little
visit.
victories.
Yeah.
We only had to go to the ER once for dehydration, and
Oh,
then
God.
so now he's
Yeah.
on board with the hydration.
Oh,
No, see,
God.
Corey
And I'm
lives
always
off of
asking
coffee.
him.
Coffee,
Oh, yeah.
coffee, beer. And
Yep.
then
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys
Well, it doesn't help
experience
that they
this
run
too.
a coffee company.
Well, yeah, of course, and it's good, but yeah. Oh, he'll drink so much coffee. I don't even know how he does it, and then he'll sneak like the most awful food, like Slim Jims. I've seen it in chat a few times. Yep. I get pissed when I find the Slim Jims, you guys. It's a trigger. I don't know. They do their own thing. He thinks, yeah. I'm like, science applies to you. Swear
Romance
to
in
God.
chat going, "Hey, I thought I was dying."
He did.
I'm so Broman, I'm so glad you tuned in with your body and didn't die. And
I'm really glad that you checked that out.
So now we drink a lot of water now. It's great.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Yay.
What
Lesson
about
learned.
Really good about it.
exercise? Like you mentioned that you have
Exercise.
Corey exercise often. No, I feel like with
Sporadic.
our time frame, yeah, I feel like with our time frame, we just like Ben just doesn't have time unless he wanted to start stream an hour late or he
Yeah.
wanted to miss time with us, or he goes super late at night and goes to bed even later than normal. I feel like there's just not time for it.
Yeah,
And
Corey had to do
so I
the
don't
morning.
even
Yeah, like he had to start doing it in the morning when he did it. when he does
yeah.
it.
So
we-
like if Ben wanted to
usually
go
does it
and spend
before.
like an hour at the gym, he'd have to wake up at 5 in the morning to get there by 5:30, work out, and then come home, and like it would just be no time for sleep then. And so I hope that eventually we can find a way for that, because he used to work out all the time and lift weights and was all like big bulky muscles and stuff like that. And he just hasn't, as soon as he got so much into this, that's kind of fell to the wayside, and we're both just like, I really want to figure out how to make this work. So
He's
maybe we
working
just
on
need a
his
bigger
dad bod. That's what Corey said. That's what he told me.
God.
He's like, this is
Yeah.
my dad bod. But yeah, no, we literally have like part of our garage sectioned off now and AC'd, like, and it's a gym.
That's
the
what I
only
think we
way
need to
he'll
do.
do it. Anything.
Yeah,
He wouldn't go
first we
anywhere,
need a
yeah.
bigger house, so we'll
Yeah.
work on the bigger house right now.
or like,
Yeah,
I don't
I
know,
feel
the
like
at-home
that
workout.
for even myself sometimes. Like I just don't feel like I have a lot of time, or
Yeah.
because we got a treadmill and we just got it a couple months ago. Like it's what I really wanted for my birthday, and well, first it was kind of broken. We had to fix it, but even now it's like if I have the time
It's
to work out, I'm like,
okay.
I'm just tired. I don't want, I've worked, I've taken care of kids, and I get an hour before he streams, and it's like, do I work out? Do I hang out with him? Like, we've always talked, if we could just have one more hour in the day, just one, just
Oh,
that's all
right?
we need.
It's really
Yeah.
it's really difficult, but one thing I tell a lot of people is just it's more about routine than just
Mhm.
killing yourself with these crazy workouts
Yeah.
most of the time.
Right.
If you can even set aside just 15 minutes and make it part of your routine, then
Mhm.
it becomes mentally easier. But it's really hard to fit it in somewhere when you're not like consistently doing it,
yeah.
and they don't consistently do it.
And I feel like that's kind of like where the wave thing comes back too, because even Broman is like super fitness guy, loves to power lift, loves to like feel strong. He works out and he loves it. But then there's sometimes like he can't get to the gym because, he has to be online.
Mhm.
Like you guys know those
Yeah.
days.
Oh
those
yeah,
weeks.
there's
And so like, and I can tell like that's part of the whole health thing too, is like I can see his stress level like visibly disappear when he's able to work out. And I love that. And he loves it so much. And then when he can't do it, I'm just like, just go, just like,
Yeah.
just
Well,
go do it.
It's an outlet.
It's
I
not
mean,
worth it for 1 hour. Just go.
yeah, please. For your mental
Totally. For
For
stability
your
too.
mental
Right?
health,
Yeah.
your happiness, like the endorphins
Uh,
are insane. Like, so
it's
if they
hard
can fit it
though.
in, it's super hard.
So I'd say, I
Super
guess for
hard.
that question, like consistency, health wise, exercise wise, everything, consistency is the biggest
Get
issue.
up, walk
Mhm.
around. Don't just
Yeah.
sit there for multiple hours.
Yeah,
Jake's pretty good
it's hard.
about he'll like come out on some of his breaks and do like push-ups and sit-ups in like the 3 minutes that he has. Just
That's
try to
Right.
get,
actually a
like,
great idea.
some blood
Smart,
flowing.
yeah.
Yeah, I totally think that needs to be a thing. I almost got us Fitbits because it can remind you to move and like
Yep.
buzz. And I was like, you need this. So it can buzz on your hand. And then, as soon as you're done with your game, to put on an ad, or which he doesn't do. So pretend you're going to go to the bathroom. I don't know. And run upstairs and do like
Man,
jumping
Ben
jacks or
has to
something.
pee a lot now.
Yeah.
I know. Every hour he's going to the
sweaty.
bathroom.
He's like sweaty. Who sweats when they pee? That's
Be
weird.
a ferocious pee. Yeah.
Oh gosh. And with that,
The men are loving us right now.
yeah. All right. Let's move on. Let's see. The last one is so in light of the recent subtrains that, and they gave the example Darkness 429 and husband Dr. Lupo have had in the past week or so, and the unwritten rule of you can't stop streaming till the subtrain ends. How do you adjust your family life and routine to accommodate it? You just do.
Yeah.
Ben had his on, was it Monday? It was just this last week. And he had started a few subtrains in other people's chats. And so we had a feeling that it might come back around to him. And so once the whole sub gifting thing especially went live, we talked about it and we made the plan ahead of time. So pretty much any time, at least for us, when we see when we see that there is a trend of something sudden coming up, like being raided and stuff like that, we just talk about what our game plan is ahead of time. So when that started happening, when he was doing the sub train for Tim and Ninja, and I think he did one for Broman, and at least started like hyping it up and everything, we basically were like, when it happens, you're just going to keep going because that's what's required of you. And so we didn't see him at all that whole entire day, and he didn't stop. He streamed for 18 hours that day because the stupid sub train didn't start until like 3, and he gets off at 4. And so as soon as it started, I was like, guys, why didn't you start this earlier? But he came upstairs to say goodnight to Charlie and sing his song with him and put him to bed, and then he went right back down. And just with anything, if a new game comes out, if there's a new feature that they need to test out, or if there is like a new map or something like that, like it just happens. And how do you accommodate it? You just have to remember that, yeah, you just do. It's part of the thing that you agree to. I mean, it's not like we were blind to any of this kind of stuff going into this.
Exactly.
It was definitely, we all know it's a part of, and it's just like anybody that, if you think about it, that's like on a call, like a doctor that's on call, they have to go in at random times, and it's just what they do. So that's how we do it. At least we talk about it ahead of time. And so when it comes around, then basically Ben just said to me, he's like, hey, I have a sub train starting. What do I do? And I said, you keep going. And he's like, all right, okay, see you later. And that was pretty much it.
And to add to that, I would say what works for us is, like we keep in contact with each other while he's streaming, in between whatever he's doing. And, but I always encourage Broman to like go extra on the days that are going really well. And, if the day is not going that great, then you could go to the gym, you could do that extra couple of things that you want to do. So when good, awesome events happen, like that's the best thing in this household, like you want them to stream extra. You want that sub train to keep going. You want them to be happy. So I think And I think a lot of our guys already know this, but like, you know, it's all about the quality of stream. Like if you're not having fun, nobody's having fun.
Right.
So
Yeah,
in
everything
our
has to be
house,
genuine.
yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
like
So,
and that kind of follows that. I think they're good with that.
yeah. So it's more understandable for us, is what I'm saying. For like when those days happen, that's amazing, and we're all really happy. And then when bad days happen, it's kind of like, well, just, you know, like come back to me and like let's live our lives. And so it's not something that ruins our lives, I don't think.
No.
Yeah.
And the
It's all
only
about
time,
the
like,
support.
let's say Ben and I were going to a concert that night. Obviously, he's
sure.
not going to miss a concert for Stream, and Stream's going to have to understand that. But if it was like we're going to go out to dinner with friends, we would probably cancel, and we would
Yeah.
probably move it to a different day for something like that. Because literally in that moment, if you stop in the middle of a subtrain and walk away, you're losing money. You're
Yeah.
literally saying, keep your money, I don't want it, because you're not there to support the hype and the antics that chat wants you to go along with. And that's basically just kind of giving the big middle finger to your community, because they want to support you, but you're like, nope, I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
And walking away. So there'd be like very few
Exactly.
situations that I'd be like, yeah, you need to stop. But otherwise, and like for his, he had been streaming 18 hours and he was just so tired, and he noticed that it was starting to drop off. And so he stopped the subtrain itself, but it had been going on for so many hours as it was. So it wasn't like,
yeah. It's all
like
about
he was-
finding that genuine place of, because you don't want anything to be forced either.
Right.
Right.
So once they find that place of like, okay, it's winding down, I think that's a good place to stop.
Yeah.
Yes, definitely. So we had a bonus question that somebody asked, and we were looking at it, and we're like, we kind of want to just do like a little cutesy one to end with here. So what are your favorite animals and why?
Kelsey gets to go
gosh.
first, obviously.
Yeah.
I have to say why though. Well, ever since I was a little girl, I've been obsessed with dolphins. And I don't know if I have a reason. I'm just like so like if watching a dolphin swim around, just like I'm like, what is the word? Not entranced. Is that a word?
Mesmerized?
Mesmerized. I guess that's the
Enthralled?
word. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
I
just
think
like
that's it.
meditative for me to watch them.
Therapeutic?
But yeah, I just love them. But dogs are also my like number one. Like I'll literally see a dog across the street and like beeline to it.
Yeah.
They just make life so much better. And they always make you happy, and they're loyal, and just I just love them.
The office that I work in is very dog friendly, and every time I hear a dog come in, like somebody will bring their dog, and I'm like, act cool, I'm just going to get a drink. Like inside, I'm like, puppy, I need to get back
You just want to get on the ground and like roll around with them.
I know, right?
Yes.
That was basically me on Sunday when I did our Santa Paws event for the
Aw, that was
the group that I work with in Omaha. The whole entire time each dog came in and I'd be like down on my knees. I'm like, what's your name? Do you want to go see Santa? Okay, come with me. It was pretty much the greatest.
My mom and I went shopping last weekend, Christmas shopping, and we walked into the store, and my mom's like, hey, check out the dog behind the cash register, and there was a service dog laying there. And I'm like kind of semi freaking out about the dog and how cute she was. And my mom looks at me and she's like, I'm sorry, are you crying right now? And I was like tearing up. I was like, leave me alone. People were like, okay, she's really
Is she broken?
like, what's going on?
I just love them.
Oh gosh.
I mean, but it's also like, if it's not evident by my name, I'm obsessed with hippos, and I don't know why this started, but I just think they're adorable and super cute.
They are.
Thank you. And
Their
like,
little faces. I like their little ears
their
and
noses, and Fiona from Fiona the hippo from Cincinnati, just like, I just melt into a puddle of mush every time I see a hippo. I don't know why, but I just like, I think if I was ever super mad at TV for some reason, if he just came home with like a stuffed hippo, I just couldn't be mad anymore. I just love them.
Would
and now
you be like Kristen Bell with the sloth?
He's writing notes. Yes.
Like,
Yes.
okay,
Oh, I
yes,
love
I
those.
totally would. And it's funny because I always joke that I'm indoctrinating my daughter into loving hippos. So she's got like this huge stuffed one in her room and like the
Oh my
tiny one that
God.
she takes to like to and fro to a daycare. And now she's like loving hippos too. And I'm like, yes, I'm indoctrinating you.
Weren't they hippos in what was it, Fantasia? Like the
Yes.
ballerina hippos?
With the tutus on.
yes.
Oh yeah. Remember
Super
that.
good.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
When I go to a zoo and I see them, I kind of just want to hop the thing. Even though I know they're like vicious and they kill more humans than sharks, I just really want to kiss them.
I'm sure we'll find you a nice one day.
I can only hope. Someday they're gonna like
Wonderful.
genetically breed like a tiny house size one, and I will be one of the first purchasers.
Oh gosh.
Buyers.
Person.
Purchasers. That's a real word.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Just
is.
roll with it.
Yeah. It works.
Oh man. So I'll go next with mine because I have a little friend up here that somebody from our community made for me. But as you get, anybody that has a subscription to my channel knows that I love otters.
The otters.
Aww,
Oh.
they're so cute too.
They're so cute. My favorite Beanie Baby was the otter that was holding onto the little kelp leaf. I still have that. Yes,
He's
I love
so
otters
cute.
and manatees. Those are both my favorite.
Oh,
Manatees just
yeah.
because like, I don't know, it's like hippos. They're just cute. Even though they
Something about
don't
their
do
lips,
anything.
right? Like they
Yeah.
have these.
They just look like grumpy old men.
Yes.
And I just want to hug them. And we went to Key West a few years ago. And I saw one in the harbor and literally just like his back, and he went under the water and he came back up, and I started bawling because I was so excited that I was seeing a manatee in the wild. And we stood there for like 10 minutes staring at this lump in the harbor. And Ben's like, "Can we go?" I'm like, "No, he's still there. I can't leave him." So yeah, I love manatees. But otters are my absolute favorite thing in the whole entire world because they're just so sweet. And one day I will go
So
to
cute.
California and I will swim with them. The end.
Love it.
The end.
Do it.
I have to put it back on my monitor. Hold on. Don't fall. Okay.
What if I said something really like not doggies? Everybody's like Peach, Lincoln, Bowser. Oh no, I totally love my pups and just dogs in general. They're so and I don't know. I feel like they're really in tune to us as
She's
people.
Very scared.
Mm-hmm.
Pepper scared?
Oh, there's a thunderstorm.
Sorry.
Oh.
I was like a Pepper. My dogs are like sleeping like rocks. Even before we started, I was like, wow, everybody went to bed. See, they knew. But yeah, they're so in tune to like what well, at least most of the time
Yeah.
to what we
Right.
want. And even when they do the bad stuff, you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
You're so
Like-
cute though.
Yeah. And I have to say, like during pregnancy and everything, oh my gosh, so sweet,
Aw.
so cute,
Aw.
sweet and in tune. I just think they really sense what you want and need, and all they want to do is make you happy.
Yeah.
So,
That's
I feel
so
like
cute.
I feel like I say at least once a day to someone, like, we don't deserve dogs. We just don't. Because
Yeah.
they're just,
Yeah.
Mm-mm.
they're so sweet.
Yeah.
So true.
If I could, I would have like 50.
yes.
50
Mhm.
dogs just like running around.
So
time.
when are we buying our farm?
Right, yeah, when's
Exactly.
this gonna happen? Gotta find some real estate. Gotta have a pool though, because I always see those videos of like 1,200 golden retrievers jumping into a
Yes.
swimming
Running
pool,
and
and I'm
jumping.
like,
I've seen
I want
that.
to with
Yeah.
these dogs. You'd come out with scratches everywhere, but it would be worth it.
Oh my gosh, they're so cute though. Link looks like a little otter when he swims. I need to send you a video, Lupo.
His little legs.
He's so funny, and the way he looks like slicked back, like when he gets his toy and he swims, he does. He swims like a little otter.
Oh my gosh,
Oh,
Charlie
yeah.
started to
Yeah.
like otters too. Charlie likes seeing the otters at the zoo, and so he knows where they are in the jungle at the Henry Dorley Zoo here, and he'll run to them and he'll say "mamas," and I'm like, yes, that's Mama's favorite.
Aw.
He knows.
So sweet.
All right, Amy.
Oh, definitely dogs. I think we've kind of established that.
Yeah.
But I would have to say bears for some reason. You know, like when you're in elementary school and they're always like, do a report on an animal. I always picked bears for some reason, one bear after another, especially the polar bear. I think I used the same report like 3 times, not gonna lie, and just like added on to it. But for some reason, bears have always fascinated me. Like, how are they so big? How do they like hibernate? How is that a thing? Can
Why
I
can't I
hibernate?
do that? Yeah.
Yeah, right?
That would be great. It's really cold in the winter in where I'm from, back home. And so I don't know, bears have always, you know, and like that whole like mama bear thing and like nurturing. Like I'm really like that, I feel like, and a lot of people have said that to me. But I don't know. Spirit animal.
Right?
There you
That's
go.
the otter for me.
Yeah.
Let's see, what time is it? Do we have time to take maybe one question from chat?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Are you alive, Sam?
I am. I'm still here.
Okay, good. She's like, I need to go to bed at a certain time.
Yeah. Great. Oh, I'm like a granny over here.
Well, you're also like 8 months pregnant, so you
Right.
get past
So it's
Yeah,
okay.
right.
If there's a
Growing
bed
a
behind
human
you, if
is
you didn't know, just crawl onto the bed and yell at us.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'm in the guest room. I totally
Yeah.
could have turned the camera and just laid
lay
down.
Okay, so
Next
the first
time.
question I
Love
saw
that.
is talk about the janky setups. Should we talk about the janky setups real quick?
Sure. Yeah.
That,
Oh
'cause-
my gosh.
Grenadier Jake wants to know if we like biceps or abs.
Ugh.
Oh my god.
I have to answer that.
All right, so let's see. Let's talk about the janky setups. We'll talk about that one because they'll be quick. So I want to hear about these forks.
Oh yeah.
So-
The forks.
That sounds very
Yes.
interesting.
So tell us. So let's see. Tell us like where they set up and something silly about how they got Stream to work for them.
Oh my gosh. I don't even know how he got it to work. And actually, I never saw the forks in person, just to be completely honest about it. But he lived in a different state when we started dating. And when he moved to St. Louis, where we both lived for a while, he got his new like apartment place and he was putting up his green screen and I was over trying to like help him unpack and like see what the deal was with like this setup. Like, why do you have so many computer stuff? And try to figure it out. And he just started using like random stuff like in his room, like not even like thumbtacks or anything to like hang up his green screen. And I was like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, well, in the old place, it was forks. So that's his fork story.
Aw.
And so I tried to help him out and actually go to like Office Max and like get him real things to hang things up.
Nice.
So that was really funny. The other janky thing from Broman's setup was when we moved to Florida here, he didn't have a desk that he like really loved. Like, you know, your streamer husband, like he wants the desk that's perfect for him. You know what I
Yep.
mean? And so just for temporarily, we moved down here and like the first month or two, we got one of those fold out like plastic, just like picnic table type of things, you know?
Oh yeah.
But it was like split in half. And so the table was literally like this the whole time. So he was just trying to like, he couldn't be like excessive because things were just wobbly and like tilted and it was really funny. So that's our janky stories, I guess.
I'll talk about the butt print in my carpet. So
Yeah, I want to hear about that.
right? So when Ben started streaming, he started streaming through his Xbox. So he had a tablet and he sat on the floor in front of our couch, not on the couch, in front of our couch and leaned up against the couch, sat on the floor and pulled our coffee table over his legs. So that was his table. And then he would either like sit crisscross or sit with his legs out. And sometimes he'd like sit on his knees or something. But he would sit in the same spot every single day. And he streamed like this for months.
Oh my
Like
gosh.
it was a while before
Wow.
we moved over and we bought our desks and he got the whole setup and stuff like that. And he would I would go through and vacuum, and like when the carpet's matted down and you vacuum over and it fluffs back up, it didn't fluff back up where where his butt was. And so that was his janky setup. Was he used a coffee table and sat on the floor, and now there's a permanent spot in my carpet where it's
Oh my gosh,
flat.
hilarious.
I think we need to see a photo of this.
Yeah, I'll see if I
Yes.
can take a photo
Yeah.
where you can see it. It's really light carpet, so I'll have to see if I can figure out how to make it visible now. But yes. Yep. That's ours.
I think I talked about, I talked about it a little in our intro where like Corey was in our living room. And we had this like silvery looking wallpaper. It was a rental wallpaper. And he like tried to duct tape a green screen behind him and ended up ripping some of the wallpaper when that came off.
Oh, no.
And then I think he ended up with like those command things and cutting holes in it and hanging it. But it was like on the wall in our living room. It was awesome. And then I think for a while he used like a TV, those wood TV trays. For
Yeah.
his like setup, and then everything else would end up on the coffee table. Yeah,
Oh my gosh.
it was pretty interesting. So yeah, our wall was all messed up, and the thing fell down so many times, like the green screen, and our stairs were right behind him, so then you could see everybody like walking by or whatever. I don't know. It was pretty interesting. But yeah, he sat on our couch and had a TV tray and coffee table.
Awesome.
All that.
I think for us, I can think of two things. So in our old house, we just moved this summer. He didn't really have, when he first started, he didn't really have a place to stream. And our basement was used for like a guest room and storage. So we set up like literally a buffet table in our tiny dining room for him to stream. And the buffet table was so janky because it had like a lip to it. So when you played, you had to like put your arms over the lip, and it was really like cut off circulation. And when people came over for dinner, it was like, just ignore his setup that's literally right behind you. It was
Don't bump it.
It was so bad. And all you could see in the background was like just our slider and the dining room table. And it was just so bad. And then the second one being when we moved, there were a couple months between us moving out of our house and moving into the new house that we were actually staying with my parents. And so he set up in their basement on a card, like a card, a playing card table. I can't think, a folding table. Gosh, where's my mind? And like his back was to the stairs. So if you did laundry or anything, like people would be coming and going, doing laundry, or like my son would be coming down in just a diaper, and Ryan's like, go back upstairs, go back upstairs. It was just so bad. And my poor mother, like, because we were staying with my parents, my poor mother's like, I don't want to go down there and do laundry and be on a stream. And
Oh my gosh.
good times.
That's
Good
hilarious.
times. I mean, I kind of already talked about it, but Jake's setup that he had when he was living in Vegas, it was in his dad's place, and it was like this tiny little room. I don't know what it's actually meant for. I guess it was like technically an office, but it felt like smaller than a closet. And it just had like a curtain. So whenever his dad was there, he's like
I remember
hearing
that.
everything that he said. And Jake's not a quiet person. And speaking of butt prints, he sat in this like bar stool chair thing, and he sat in it for like a year, and it was leather. So there's like also a permanent butt print on that. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
Thanks for the win.
Yeah. Too good.
Gotta
And look
do
where
what they
they
gotta
are
do,
now.
yeah.
Right? Now they
Yeah.
have big desks and multiple monitors and fancy cameras and stream
fancy.
decks and boom mics and
Woo,
Man.
yeah.
Lights
A lot of things that I
and
don't
lights.
understand.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's like, I got this new thing. I'm like, okay.
But it just
What
shows
does
how
it
much they
do?
put back into like all the
Yes.
support
Yeah.
that they've gotten over the years or however long. It just shows that they've really put a lot more
Yeah,
right
and
back
he'll-
into it. And that was always the goal.
Exactly.
Ben always wants to keep improving, and I totally get that. He just got a GoPro camera sent to him that somebody wasn't using, and I was like, if you bought this, how much would it be? And it was a few $100s, and he's like, but I want to make my experience for people in chat better. And I was like, oh, okay, is this gonna make it a lot better? And he's like, well, I mean, you're going to be able to notice if you know that you're looking for it and everything. I'm like, oh, so it's like, it's nice to see that even though it might not be a big change, they want to make their stream the best that they possibly can for the people viewing.
They
Which
really
I
do.
think, it's not like they're like, it will work. I don't have to look at it. Like, they really want to make their stream as highest tier of quality that they possibly can. So if they find something else that, like, whether it's like a cool transition, or like when the Stream Deck came out, I know a lot of the guys, they use the Stream Deck and stuff like that. And Ben's like, I want one because I want to be able to zoom in really quick and do funny things and zoom back out and switch to this. And he's like, I want to make it cool for stream to view that. And I think that's like an endearing thing quality that they have.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, cool.
And on that note, since we just
Did we
said
do
such
it?
Sweet things.
Yeah. Did we do it, guys? Did we finally complete after some technical issues and a month of planning?
Survived.
Oh,
did it.
we did it!
Yay.
Big group
Proud
hug. So if you guys enjoyed this evening, we surely did, and we've already talked about things that we can do in the future. But please show us some love on Twitter. If you want to follow our Twitter, it's at the bottom of the screen, but it's at the number 3 MIN break, so 3 min break. And follow it, share it, give us your feedback. We want to know what you guys liked and didn't like, what you want to see in the future.
Yeah, hit us up.
And we definitely want to do this more often. We aren't sure how often because one, there's 5 of us and we all have crazy lives. So we will see how
someone's
often.
having a baby soon.
Someone's having a baby.
Someone.
But we've also talked about bringing other people on as guests. So if you guys have any suggestions for stuff like that and things that you want to hear, please let us know. So in these beginning few streams and everything, we want you guys to be as much part of building this as we are, because we're doing this for you guys. So even though we have lots of fun, but because of you guys wanting this, I've made 4 really amazing friends right here. So yeah.
Agreed.
I love
Yay,
you
oh,
all.
we're all so
guys.
sappy
I'm
and
so glad
girly
we're
right
friends.
now.
I know.
Oh, it's so horrible being a girl. So I can say this for all of us, but thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. Please follow us on Twitter. Once again, it's at the bottom of your screen, the number 3 MIN break. 3 min break, and then on there you'll be able to see all of our individual ones as well. But if you guys want to go around real quick and just tell us where we can find you on Twitter, and then if you're also on Twitch, if you stream as well, let us know where you go. So I'll go first. I am Mrs. Dr. Lupo on Twitch and Twitter. You can find me both there. And let's go, Sam, you can go next. We'll go in a circle.
I'm Wythe Valiant on Twitter. I don't stream, but I'm the same on Twitch. Next. Oh, I can't hear.
Amy.
Oh, now I can hear.
I am Poke Hotness. If I show up on stream, I don't show up, or I don't stream myself, but I'm usually in a couple of people's chats. I try at least to like check in and like say hi to like friends and stuff. And then on Twitter, it's Amy4Bowman. And yeah.
Cool. Kelsey.
On Twitter, I'm not sure if you can find it by searching Mrs. Grenadier. I don't know how that works, but my tag is at Kelso3191. But the name is Mrs. Grenadier, so it's kind of confusing. And then on Twitch, I'm Mrs. Grenadier as well.
Cool.
And I am Girl on a Hippo on both as well.
Awesome.
Easy.
Super original.
All right. No, that's cool. All right. Big round of applause for everybody. Yay. Have a great
Thank
night,
you,
guys.
everyone.
We will be seeing you soon shortly. It won't be before the holidays, so everybody have a great holiday no matter what you believe in and what you experience during the holiday months. Have fun, have a great time, and just be good to everybody, right?
Yeah,
Be nice.
all the
Be nice.
love.
Be nice.
Excellent to each other.
All right, guys. Everyone, wave bye. We'll see you later.
Bye. Thank you.
Nope, you're